Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Brian Engelman here with the New American Media and the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Indians, Cavs, Browns, and Buckeyes centric, but we'll talk about anything today. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Indians and their very impressive 18-game winning streak. On the phone, I have Justin Engelman. That is my cousin. Justin, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Couldn't be doing any better.
Well, you could be doing better. You could be going to the game tonight like we are, but it's all right. It's all right. Yeah,
Nicely done.
very excited, man. The Indian streak has now hit 18. Let's kind of break down what we've been seeing. What is behind this resurgence from a team that was really muddling through kind of like a 50-50, 500 record for most of the season until they got hot?
Well, I think it goes back to the horse's mouth. And I saw on ESPN last night, they interviewed Frankie Lindor on the Scott Van Pelt show. And he simply said it. Everyone's producing 1 through 9. It's someone different every night. And this past 18 games, it's been 1 or 2 players every night. And that's just the key. Everyone is producing from our weakest slot in the batting lineup, which would be the catching position. Last night, Perez hit a home run. Gomes has been hitting. It's just 1 through 9. Everybody's been producing night in, night out. Everyone's been putting the team on their shoulder. And it's not like it's just one guy. It's 2 or 3 guys each night. And there's games where we've scored 11 runs. I saw a stat today that we've out-hit our opponents. I think it's like 129 to 33 throughout the streak. Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just production 1 through 9, even guys coming off the bench, and it's just a well-rounded effort, and we're seeing the after effects of that.
Yeah, it is really nice. Even if the catchers weren't hitting that much, you gotta roll with them regardless. Remember we almost pulled off that trade to get Lucroy, but it comes down to the relationship the pitchers have with Mickey Callaway and Tito Francona, and with the catching staff. It's talk about the pitching staff a little bit, because they work so closely with everybody on this team that knows what's going on in the pitching realm. Mickey Callaway is so underrated, in my opinion. I can't even put it into words. I don't know how much. Where would you split the credit? Let me rephrase this question. I was starting off in one direction, but I'm gonna call an audible. How much credit do you give Callaway? How much do you give Tito? How much do you give the pitchers in general for the pitching dominance in general?
Well, you forgot one factor in there too, is the catching. The catching, calling the games day in and day out. And I think that's honestly why Gomes and Perez got linked into longer contracts, is simply because of the catching. They're calling of the games night in and night out. They just do a fantastic job. I think they own their pitcher's trust, and they've earned it, and they do a great job. And that's honestly what holds their value. And just the fact we have a prize catching prospect who, probably delayed maybe his call up because of just where we're at in catching. They do a great job of calling the games. But honestly, every one of those names that you've mentioned, I think, play a huge part. I mean, the fact that where Francona, is kind of adjusted maybe the way he's structured the bullpen. He's kind of made adjustments here and there. It's kind of struggled throughout the season, but the adjustments he's made, I think if you go back to Callaway and just the work they put in with, guys like Salazar who struggled, but he was masterful before he got injured again. So it's a trifectal effect, and I think that we're seeing that, and I think all of them are worthy of our praise, and they're just doing an unbelievable job. Not only are we out hitting them, but I think we've had 4 or 5 shutouts in this streak. That's just unheard of. I think we swept the Royals, and they didn't even score 1 run on us.
Yeah, the entire series. Yeah, we whooped the Royals. And these aren't teams that are basement dwellers. These are teams in competition, fighting for a wild card spot. Late in the season, sometimes you'll see the Tigers trade away Justin Verlander, and you'll see some teams start to do salary dumps. These are teams that are keeping their best players and really trying to make something happen. It's
absolutely.
These are some strong teams that we're beating. The Orioles are in the mix. The Yankees are in the mix.
Red Sox.
Absolutely. Red Sox. These are no schlubs that we're taking on here, but we kind of look at the standings in Major League Baseball now as we are here in, coming in the middle of September. In the Tribe are now plus 207 in the runs category. We're up 207. That is by far now the number one mark in the major leagues. You see the Dodgers in a death spiral, losing 10 in a row while we're winning 18 in a row, going for 19 tonight. Um, with all of the players that we have, who would you say the MVP is on this team since everybody is contributing? Because we're going to have to start talking about that factor of it. Who is there an MVP on this team? Could you pick one?
Okay, well, the great situation that we're in is just the fact that there's 3 or 4 guys. I mean, you look at Jose Ramirez, and he could honestly be in the MVP race. I mean, if you look at it, started third base at the All-Star on the All-Star team, and he's had a great year. But to me, honestly, Brian, I don't think we could look past Francisco Lindor. I mean, Frankie Lindor almost has 30 home runs. Just his leadership. Someone asked me the other day. They said and he just kind of came out of nowhere. Before last season, and he said maybe just because I didn't really pay close attention to them. You know what? And I thought that for a second, his statement, and I said, our team drastically changed. The attitude, the performance, it all changed when we called up Francisco Lindor. I mean, just from day one, it was like his leadership. When he talked to the media, it sounded like he was Derek Jeter behind the mic. Just the maturity level. And the presence at the plate, his defense, his smile, his presence in the locker room is, I think, it speaks volumes for just his leadership abilities. And honestly, I think we cannot state enough the value that Francisco Lindor brings to this team. I mean, when's the last time the American League shortstops hit 30 home runs?
Yeah, that's
more
surprising.
Than 30 home runs.
He had a very pedestrian first half of the year. The batting average was down. The power wasn't really there. And you just kind of look up. You go, whoa, okay, so now he's setting a record for most home runs by a shortstop in Cleveland Indians history. We've had some good players that play that position. And, you glance up, he's past Asdrubal Cabrera, and here we are. I mean, there's no way around the fact that Frankie has turned it on, and maybe he has been the catalyst because, like I said, this whole second half of the season, it's really been him setting the pace. We're missing Jason Kipnis. We're missing Michael Brantley. We're missing Andrew Miller. There's some real players that are not on the team right now. Those are all our all-stars, So, we're trying to figure out how this team has put it together. But, hey, maybe it is Frankie that set the pace for sure. With the 18 games that we've won in a row now, and how impressive is it that we've caught the Houston Astros for the best record? I think we're up by a game right now. How impressive is it that we've kind of caught them who started off so strong this season?
It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And they've hit some rough patches here and there, but it's not like they've just fallen off the wagon or anything. And they've kept pace. They're still almost 30 games over 500. So to be able to have been able to do that has been incredible. I mean, the fact that it took an 18-game winning streak to do it is just shows how far ahead they were. I mean, just common sense there, but it's incredible. And let's not understate the presence of Jay Bruce in the lineup. I think we're 26-4 since we've acquired Jay Bruce.
That's a great stat.
I mean, that just goes to the front office. I mean, we hardly gave them anything, and to be able to bring him in, I think was just a huge boost to our morale, our confidence, and then just his presence in the lineup. And it's not like he came and was batting around 200. He was just on a tear, and it just helped our lineup immensely. Encarnacion is hitting now. I mean, just to be able to trigger him was well worth the trade. He's hitting now. Santana's finally hitting. I mean, month after month is struggling, career lows in offensive categories. So to get him triggered, I mean, it's just a dual effect here. in that middle of the lineup, and then I don't think we should understate his presence in the lineup, and then just kudos to the front office for going out and making that pick. I think it was Francona, who's Tito, who said, he was jokingly went up to the front office and said, "Do we pick up Bruce?" Because it was so far fetched. He was joking, and then a couple of days later, they made the move, and I mean, I think that's just so underrated. I think just the effect that's had on our team on the second half.
And you have to look at where a team is at around the midway point of the season. Are they buyers or sellers? Are they going to sit by and just roll with who, dance with who brought you there? Or are you going to try to make a couple of moves to improve the team a little bit? Is that 5% extra improvement on your roster for a 5 to 10 to 15% increase on your payroll? Is that going to get you over the hump? Not too many teams get a chance to compete for a world championship. We were one run away from winning it last year. It seems like this team has taken the experience and they're going to be able to do something good with it. I really hope this is our year. It feels great. I feel like they're a team possessed right now. And I think they couldn't be clicking at a better time. Right around the same time, the Dodgers are absolutely imploding. We're only 3 Indians wins and 3 Dodgers losses away from us having home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs, which seemed absolutely unattainable just a couple of months ago.
Absolutely. Well, how great is it, too? We're accomplishing this without Michael Brantley, without Jason Kipnis, without Andrew Miller. We're doing all of this without 3 of our core players. And that just, people say, well, are you peaking too early? That gives me the confidence that, no, I mean, we've got 3 guys who aren't healthy. They're not playing. Salazar's not healthy. And Bauer's just picked up that extra load there. And just if you look at that area of our injury, our DL list, that's just very encouraging. And Brantley was on the All-Star team. So it's not like he was having a subpar year. He was on the All-Star team, and so to be able to having no production from him in this streak, Kipnis, who struggled this year, and we're getting help and production from guys like Gonzalez and Yandy Diaz. Guys these call even Greg Allen is produced. So. It's just very encouraging, and it looks like I was watching the game last night. One of the commentators on it, you look to this team. There's just not a hole. They said that before the season this year, but I think that was a little overstated. We did have a couple holes, but we went out. We got a Joe Smith to anchor in the bullpen to add a touch there. Give Tito an extra piece. We went out and got Jay Bruce, which I thought that was a big hole in our lineup. That middle lineup, a Jay Bruce in right field. I like Lonnie. I just don't think that's our best option out there. That we could put someone that has a little bit bigger thump in the bat, a little more consistency out there. So getting Jay Bruce, adding Joe Smith, it was just an A+, I believe, from the front office. And we'll see how long it lasts. We'll see the after effects in October.
Absolutely. We're talking with Justin Engelman. This will be our last question. So if you're watching on Facebook Live and you have a question, type it in below. I will ask him if you get it in the next 30, 45 seconds. So type away. And Justin, I guess final question here. What do you make of the rest of the teams in the American League? What do you see happening? What are some of the storylines to watch for as we move down the stretch toward the playoffs? Anything happen in the wild card race? Who do you expect is going to come out of there? What about the Astros who are faltering? What do you make of the whole rest of the American League?
I'm glad you brought this up. So first of all, I was asked earlier in the season, what's your thoughts? We're struggling this year. Do you have that kind of that sixth sense like you had last year that they were going to make the World Series? And I said yes. I said we're underperforming right now. We're still 7, 8, 9 games over 500. We're still in first place. Bauer's pitching better. Carrasco's having a good year. Kluber's could win the Cy Young. I honestly, Andrew Miller, I think might be a blessing in disguise. Having him fully rested going into the postseason could be lethal, absolutely lethal. Same with Salazar. So, but to get back to the question, honestly, this was one of my points of reasoning was I just don't see the competition level in the American League. You know, Boston, their weakness is their starting pitching. They have Chris Sale. Pomeranz is having a good year. But that's really it. David Price is pitching the way he usually does. They have holes in their bullpen. They have, inconsistencies up and down their lineup, the middle of their lineup. So they'll see it in Boston. New York is just a few years. There might be a year or two away from their peaking. They're so young, and they're just too young. But then, if you look at everyone's favorite at mid-season for the World Series was the Astros. I can honestly say, Brian, I predicted the Astros falling off, kind of hitting their peak or plateauing, if you will, simply just because of their youth. They're so young, no playoff experience. Altuve's young, Correa's young, up and down the Springer's young, up and down that lineup. Their main producers, their heavy hitters are so young, and that gets exposed in October. And their pitching staff is top heavy with Keuchel. They went out and got Verlander. They were not buyers at the trade deadline, and to me that was a huge mistake by them. There's honestly the wild card candidates are, you have Anaheim, but they're not very. I don't think they're a huge threat. So honestly, I think that our road back to the World Series might be very, very clear, or in a very clear path, and it's looking very good right now to me.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, we can leave it right there for now. Just do me a favor. Number one, we're going to have more of these conversations. We're definitely going to do more of these shows. We've always had it on the back burner. The scheduling always screwed up, but no more excuses. We're all in on this, and we're going to have more conversations. But the second point is, remind me next time we talk, if I don't bring it up first, that when we start wrapping up the show, I want you to talk about the National League a little bit. We're a little short on time, so we can't do it today. But next time, we'll talk about the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks and some of that. But yeah, it's great stuff with the Cleveland Indians right now. It's a special team. Like I said, one run away from winning the World Series last year. Hopefully we can do it again this year and bring home the trophy this time. Maybe we even get another shot at the Cubs. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to go see them in our backyard in Los Angeles. Who knows? But it sure is fun to be a part of. And Justin, I appreciate you being on the program with me as always. Do you have any final words you wanted to add before we go?
Just one last word. One last word. We have a huge following with the Unhappy Hour Sports Hour. Huge following. Tons of Ohio natives, tons of people in the Cleveland area. I just had one request to the fan base. Get out to the games. No reason why we shouldn't have sold out yesterday. Get out and support this team. There's no reason, no excuse. This team is no doubtedly for real. They're buyers. They're the real deal. I don't know why I need to even emphasize that. But please get out to the games, support the tribe, go live. Show us, go on our page and go live like Brian, you and I did there at the Angels game when they were in Anaheim or Los Angeles, Anaheim. Go to the games, support this team, and let's make a mad run into October.
And guess what, man? I got my jersey on right here, ready to go see the game tonight. Very excited, hoping to make history with the 19th straight win tonight at Progressive Field. Justin, thank you so much for your time. We'll do this again soon. I appreciate you. And yeah, as long as I don't forget, I'm going to go live tonight because you reminded me I need to do that.
All right.
Thanks, Justin. You take care. We'll talk again soon.
Take care.